Hey, let me get that Fat Joe combo, love.
Breaking news, I never told nobody or said this story before, but because we saying it, I might as well. But you know, I caught Young Buck. Man, he got a two-piece legend.
Joe, I'm recovered. Let me talk a little bit. Said you gave me a two-piece. Well, here's the biscuit.
So what happened, man?
I just got off stage. I'm whipping it down. Chicago, I'm walking out. Yo, Greg, you hear me? I look up. Oh, it's Young Buck. I got a water bottle in my hand. Get out of here. I throw the water bottle up there. I said, come down.
Told the story, but you just had to go and twist it. Thought I would miss it. You threw a bottle of water and didn't think that I would risk.
He took too long to come down, by the way.
Yeah.
He's taking too long. He's in the staircase. Yo, I wasn't this and that. But he poked his head out just 1 second over the cop's thing.
No hands was put on nobody, even though I attempted. I don't know if it's just you, Fat Joe, or the Ozempic.
Now, after repeated violations of his bond supervision, Tennessee native and straight out of Cashville rapper Young Buck now has to serve time.
So Sumner County officials say there was a hearing earlier this week to revoke bond for David Darnell Brown, otherwise known as Young Buck. A criminal court judge ordered that Brown serve 30 days in the Sumner County jail. The judge will then set a new bond. Brown is scheduled for a jury trial on July 24 on multiple charges, including domestic assault and possession of a weapon by a convicted felon.
And in the midst, you know what I'm saying, I seen a motherfucker having Dre kind of in a fucked up position, like where Dre was handling this shit, but it's only so much you can do with a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, that's your same size or bigger. And it's 2-3 of these motherfuckers, so shit, man, we done anything that I had.
Banks and Yayo, they kind of, went with the punches. Me, I made the decision to rock with homie. I ain't had no issues with them. To this day, I don't even know what they issues was truly about. Say it was about money or whatever. But once I made the decision to rock with Shot Money, homie kind of distanced himself. Him and Shot Money were having issues at that time. Shot Money was the manager. Sit me, Banks, and Yayo all down in the office one day and told us we got to get rid of it. Shot Money had became more my best friend, my partner, than even him, and that was his best friend. I'm the best man on this wedding. You understand? So for me, and then I'm working, and then my album was set to drop 2 weeks later when this telling us just to get rid of it. My bond and loyalty is a little bit different, so it's like...
Can you speak on your side of what happened? Like how did I know with DT, he ended up getting robbed outside of the club in Cabrini Greens.
Facts.
And then after that, where did this change? They're saying the story, like you're trying to go through Chicago and
true.
meet, what's his name? Godfather?
I ended up running into dude, for sure.
Yeah, so tell me your side of how things
Well,
went.
you basically got it in a nutshell. It's like shit happened. People thought I got robbed for the chain. It wasn't me. It was DT, the DT dude. And he basically ran out there and pulled up in front of a spot. And he, I guess, was flashing the chain type thing, and they showed him, all right, come on in, park right here. In front of some club, he got out. Supposedly they walked behind him, shot at the ground and took it off his neck type shit. It's a story I was told, but once it happened, he came, brought this situation back to me. Yeah, I was in a hotel in Chicago. I was so fucking mad, man. I just said, you know what, go on about your business, man, and end up, I think, sending him back to Nashville type shit. And I went to moving through Chicago, like, let me holler at a few individuals that I know, see if they can kind of like, you know what I mean, get any kind of eyes and hands, and because I ain't paying for shit that nobody took from me. I don't believe in that type shit. So it's just like, wanted to see if I could find out if any kind of respect was there to say, hey, man, that's my shit, you know what I mean? Let me get it back type shit, which led me to JoJo and Godfather, because they was like, yo, you gotta holler at this person. When I went to holler at, Godfather and shit, he was like, yo, I know where it said and how it went down, but the dude that wanted, you know what I'm saying, he wanted a piece of change, and I ended up telling him, hey, no, man, I can't pay for nothing nobody took. They was like, all right, bet type shit, you know what I mean? I ain't trying to play hero. I'm on these niggas' turfs. These niggas is bosses. They serious. They gangsters. They really, about they shit too. And I just appreciate a motherfucker at least giving me that much, because had I been a nigga that was about paying for something, I probably could have handed that little piece of change that they wanted for it, and then it would have happened that way. Laid the news to 50, he like, get up out of there type shit. Had to get up out of there. Once I got out of there, you know, it was one of them situations where I was having to take the loss because technically it was 50 shit and I had it on type. So, you know, I was gonna wear the responsibility of it, whether I had to pay for the motherfucker or whether I had to, you know, go through whatever.
From the moment 50 Cent said, Buck's career is finished, people assumed it was just beef. But the truth is way heavier than that. Buck didn't just fall off. His whole life spun into a chain of setbacks, betrayals, jail time, IRS raids, and leaked calls that hit harder than any diss track. What you're about to hear isn't the cleaned up version. This is the real path that pushed young Buck from Nashville's hope to one of hip-hop's most tragic cautionary stories. Buck's beginning sets the tone for everything that came later. Growing up in Nashville wasn't some peaceful childhood. He bounced from one neighborhood to another, North Nashville, J.C. Napier, the South 7 projects, learning the streets before he even hit double digits. By 8, this kid knew the entire city block for block. He was hustling gas stations for tips, mowing lawns, washing cars, anything to bring home a few dollars. Music wasn't a hobby for him, it was his escape. It was the one thing that made him feel like there was something bigger waiting for him outside those projects. His local buzz built fast. People noticed a kid who could freestyle with grown men and hold his ground. But the moment that changed his whole direction came from something almost unbelievable. A phone number printed on the back of a BG album. Buck and his homie dialed it like they had nothing to lose. Cash Money Records actually responded. Next thing you know, Birdman is listening to Buck go bar for bar with Lil Wayne. At 14, Buck didn't hesitate. He dropped out of school and moved to New Orleans, chasing a dream most grown rappers never reach. But the reality wasn't as glamorous as he expected. He sat there for years, watching Wayne, Juvenile, BG, all of them skyrocketing, while none of his own work ever came out. He had talent, but he had no leverage, no releases, nothing. The only proof he was ever with Cash Money was a quick cameo in a Big Timers video. After 3 or 4 years of waiting around, he walked away. But leaving didn't mean starting over. He walked away with experience, connections, and an understanding of how labels really operate. Back in Nashville, he didn't have a major behind him, but he had hunger. He linked with his people and dropped Thug Until the End, an independent project that charted without any machine behind it. Over 10,000 units moved out the trunk. Most rappers never sell a fraction of that, even with label support. So for Buck, that was validation. This wasn't a fantasy, it could really work. Then life almost ended everything for him right there. During a home invasion, Buck got hit 3 times, 1 shot in the arm, 2 near his leg. That moment forced him to make a choice. Keep living like this or commit to music fully. He chose music. Right when he made that choice, the universe threw him a lifeline. DJ Paul from 3-6 Mafia reached out, brought him to Memphis, and Buck ended up landing a placement on When the Smoke Clears, one of 3-6's biggest albums. That credit gave him credibility he had been chasing for years, but he didn't sign with them. He stayed independent, still grinding. But Buck's story never moves in straight lines. Just when things started looking good, Birdman called him back again, promising a new opportunity with a group he was starting. Buck flew back to New Orleans only to experience the same old pattern: waiting, promises, no paperwork, no progress. A whole week gone. Then Juvenile walked into the building and saw Buck still sitting there. Within minutes, he offered Buck a way out. Buck left with him that same day. And that decision changed hip-hop forever. Now here's what most people don't know. Juvenile handed Buck a contract, and Buck took it home, slid it under his bed, and never signed it. Not because he was ungrateful, but because he sensed the instability around Cash Money and didn't want to get locked into another situation with no upside. It was a smart move. A rare moment where his instincts actually protected him. He dropped 2 projects with UTP, built momentum, and then one random day, during a tour stop in New York, everything shifted. The tour bus driver had a link to Shaw Money XL. Buck pushed him to reach out. Minutes later, 50 Cent stepped on the tour bus. Buck wasn't even supposed to record with him. He was there to work with Juvenile, but Buck saw an opening. While Juvie and 50 were recording in the back, Buck played some of his own music for Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo. One beat caught Banks' attention so hard that he took it straight to 50 in the back room. That track turned into Bloodhound on Get Rich or Die Tryin', one of the biggest rap albums of all time. That song became Buck's golden ticket. After 50 signed his major deal, he reached out and officially brought Buck into G-Unit. In 2003 and 2004, G-Unit wasn't just a rap crew, they were a cultural takeover. Buck debuted with the group on Beg for Mercy, pushing crazy numbers, and when his solo album Straight Outta Cashville dropped, it hit number 3 on Billboard. Platinum, multiple charting singles. And the biggest achievement? Young Buck became the first non-country artist from Nashville to break through the mainstream at that level. Buck shattered it, but with every high point in his life, the low point always came right behind it. At the 2004 Vibe Awards, a man allegedly approached Dr. Dre and things turned chaotic. Buck jumped in, and reports say he stabbed the guy. Whether you believe the details or not, the damage was done. He went on the run, eventually turned himself in, and landed a 3-year probation sentence. This was the moment industry figures started whispering that Buck was too street and unpredictable. Still, he kept working. He had placements, features, and momentum. But something behind the scenes was already cracking, and that crack eventually split everything apart. The biggest turning point inside G-Unit didn't start with music. It started with loyalty. 50 Cent fell out with G-Unit's longtime manager, Shaw Money XL, and demanded everyone drop him. Banks dropped him, Yayo dropped him. Buck refused. Shaw wasn't just his manager. Buck was the best man at his wedding. From Buck's view, this was friendship. From 50's view, this was straight disloyalty. And the fallout was immediate. Promotion slowed, support faded. When Buck released Buck the World, it debuted high on the charts, but didn't get half the push his first album had. At the same time, 50 accused him of blowing through money, not handling taxes, staying cool with rappers, 50 considered enemies, and hiding financial problems. But the breaking point came from a misunderstanding that spiraled into one of the most brutal public humiliations in hip-hop. A magazine interview dropped where Buck said he had never received a royalty check from G-Unit. What the public didn't know was that this interview was old. It wasn't current, but the article went live right when Buck and 50 had finally smoothed things over. The timing destroyed everything. 50 removed him from G-Unit as a group member, but kept him signed as a solo artist so Buck couldn't release music elsewhere. Then came the move that killed Buck's reputation worldwide. 50 released a private phone call where Buck was crying, stressed over money and life. Fans didn't care about context. They just saw weakness. And Buck never fully recovered from that moment. After the leak, things spiraled fast. Buck tried to release music, but 50 blocked the albums. He turned to mixtapes, dropping some of the rawest tracks of his career. But life was getting worse behind the scenes. In 2010, the IRS raided his home for $300K in unpaid taxes. They found a weapon, which turned into federal charges because of his past case. Days later, he filed for bankruptcy just to protect himself and escape the G-Unit contract. Still, the IRS seized his property and auctioned it off publicly. It was humiliating, and the world watched him lose everything. In 2012, he went to prison for 8 months. By the time he got out, the industry had moved on. Nobody was calling, nobody was offering deals. Then something nobody expected happened. In 2018, G-Unit reunited at Summer Jam, all 4 original members together. Fans lost their minds. For a moment, it looked like the old chemistry was back. They dropped 2 EPs, and Buck followed up with his 10 mixtape series that proved he could still wrap circles around half the game. But just like always, the peace didn't last. More legal cases popped up, more personal problems. Buck was arrested for threatening his ex's apartment, hit with lawsuits from 50, and then the call with a trans person leaked online, which 50 mocked nonstop. It turned into a circus. Then came another bankruptcy, another lawsuit, another debt settlement. By 2020, Buck was back in jail for a bond violation. But here's the part most people ignore. He never quit. Even after all this, he's still working. He's more active online. He's celebrating milestones. He's showing signs of finally stabilizing mentally. And his upcoming court case in 2020 will determine what the next chapter of his life looks like. Young Buck's story isn't just a fall from fame. It's a pattern of talent, bad timing, loyalty that cost him everything, financial disasters, street habits that never fully left, and a system that punished him every time he slipped. But here's the real question. After everything he's been through, is there still one comeback left in Young Buck? Let me know what you think. If you liked this breakdown, pick one of the videos on your screen and keep watching.